Me, how do you do? It is I, the powerful and mighty rice beast. Brother Pabs is currently recovering from a cold and is in the process of resting his voice. As such, to honor his commitment, I have elected to stream in his stead. Today, we will be making a mock-up overlay to evolve the current art stream overlay. I must admit, I am talented in many things, but making conversation is not one of them. As such, while we work, we will be listening to a text-to-speech rendition of the wikibook on guitars. Please enjoy, and I hope the stream is pleasant.
Different types of different types of guitars. Playing different guitars in a music shop is a great way of familiarizing yourself with each model's unique qualities, but don't forget to take off any objects that could scratch the guitar. A music salesman will let you try as many guitars as you like, but may not be too happy about the little scratch your coat button left. Your choice of guitar will usually be based on the type of music you wish to play and the aesthetic appeal of the color and design. Acoustic guitars. Di Giorgio Amazonia classical guitar. There are two types of acoustic guitar, namely, the steel string acoustic guitar and the classical guitar. Steel string acoustic guitars produce a metallic sound that is a distinctive component of a wide range of popular genres. Steel string acoustic guitars are sometimes referred to as flat tops. The word top refers to the face or front of the guitar, which is also called the table. Classical guitars have a wider neck than steel string guitars and are strung with nylon strings. They are primarily associated with the playing of the solo classical guitar repertoire. Classical guitars are sometimes referred to as Spanish guitars in recognition of their country of origin. The acoustic guitar lends itself to a variety of tasks and roles. Its portability and ease of use make it the ideal songwriter's tool. Its gentle harp-like arpeggios and rhythmic chordal strumming has always found favor in an ensemble. The acoustic guitar has a personal and intimate quality that is suited to small halls, churches, and private spaces. For larger venues, some form of amplification is required. An acoustic guitar can be amplified by placing a microphone in front of the sound hole or by installing a pickup. There are many entry-level acoustic guitar models that are manufactured to a high standard, and these are entirely suitable as a first guitar for a beginner. Electric guitars. Electric guitars are solid-bodied guitars that are designed to be plugged into an amplifier. The electric guitar, when amplified, produces a sound that is metallic with a lengthy decay. The shape of an electric guitar is not determined by the need for a deep resonating body, and this had led to the development of contoured and thin-bodied electric guitars. The two most popular designs are the Fender Stratocaster and the Gibson Les Paul. Electric guitar strings are thinner than acoustic guitar strings and closer to the neck, and therefore less force is needed to press them down. The ease with which you can bend strings, Access to the 12th position. The use of a whammy bar and the manipulation of pots and switches whilst playing has led to the development of a lead guitar style that is unique to the instrument. Fret tapping is a guitar technique for creating chords and melody lines that are not possible using the standard technique of left-hand fretting and right-hand strumming. The sustain. Sensitive pick UPS. Low action and thin strings of the electric guitar make it an ideal instrument for fret tapping. Electroacoustic guitars. Electroacoustic guitars are commonly referred to as semi-acoustic guitars. Electroacoustic guitars have pickups that are specifically designed to reproduce the subtle nuances of the acoustic guitar timbre. Electroacoustic pickups are designed to sound neutral with little alteration to the acoustic tone. The Ovation range of electroacoustic guitars have under the saddle piezo pickups and a synthetic bowlback design. The synthetic bowlback ensures a tough construction that stands up to the rigors of the road while offering less feedback at high volumes. Ovation were the first company to provide onboard equalization, and this is now a standard feature. The Taylor electroacoustic range uses the traditional all-wood construction, and the necks of these guitars have a reputation for superb action and playability. Yamaha, Madden and many other companies manufacture electroacoustic guitars, and the buyer is advised to test as many models and makes as they can while taking note of the unplugged and amplified sound. 12-string guitars. The 12-string guitar is a simple variation of the normal 6-string design. 12-string guitars have 6 regular strings and a second set of thinner strings. Each string of the second set corresponds to the note of its regular string counterpart. The strings form pairs, and therefore you play a 12-string guitar in the same manner as you would a standard 6-string. 12-string guitars produce a brighter and more jangly tone than 6-string guitars. They are used by guitarists for chord progressions that require thickening. The 12-string is mainly used as a rhythm instrument due to the extra effort involved in playing lead guitar using paired strings. 12-string guitars have 12 tuning pegs and double truss rods and are slightly more expensive than their corresponding 6-string version. Archtop guitars. Epiphone Emperor Archtop guitar. The archtop is a hollow or semi-hollow steel string acoustic or electric guitar. The carved top, combined with violin-style F-holes and internal sound block, creates a timbre that is acoustic and mellow. These two factors have made archtops a firm favorite with jazz guitarists. Acoustic and electric archtops are identical in design, with the only difference being the addition of electromagnetic pickups and pots. Archtops can either be full-bodied or thin-line. The full-bodied archtop retains good volume and acoustic resonance when played unplugged, though feedback may be an issue when amplified. The thin-line body minimizes feedback by sacrificing acoustic volume and resonance. The archtop is one of the most aesthetically pleasing guitar designs. and makers usually adhere to very high standards of construction and playability. These factors ensure its continuing popularity with guitarists. Steel guitars. The steel guitar is unusual in that it is played horizontally across the player's lap. The steel guitar originates from Hawaii, where local musicians, newly introduced to the European guitar, developed a style of playing involving alternative tunings and the use of a slide. The Hawaiian guitarists found that by laying the guitar flat across the lap they could better control the slide. In response to this new playing style, some Hawaiian steel guitars were constructed with a small rectangular body, which made them more suitable for laying across the lap. There are two types of steel guitar played with a steel: the solid metal bar from which the guitar takes its name, namely the lap steel guitar, and the pedal steel guitar with its extra necks. The pedal steel guitar comes on its own stand with a mechanical approach similar to the harp. Pedals and knee levers are used to alter the pitch of the strings whilst playing, thereby extending the fluency of the glissandi technique. Touch guitars. The first touch guitar invention started in 1959 with the filing of patent number 2,989. 884 issued in 1961 as the first touch tapping instrument, which could be played on two separated necks simultaneously by muting the strings at the distal end of the neck, along with numerous other claims. Until 1974 it was known as the dual-elector, and with a new patent the electronic mute has been known as the touch guitar. It is held in a normal way over the shoulder and designed with the left hand playing the lower bass neck in a traditional way and the right hand playing over the top on a neck which has a wider string spacing, allowing the hand to be used in both vertical and horizontal angles to the strings. It is absolutely off at all times, until touched or picked. Resonator guitars. Resonator guitars are distinctive for not having a regular sound hole. Instead, they have a large circular perforated cover plate which conceals the resonator cone. The cone is made from spun aluminum and resembles a loudspeaker. The bridge is connected to either the center or edge of the cone by an aluminum spring called the spider. The vibrations from the spider are projected by the cone through the perforated cover plate. The most common resonator guitars have a single cone, although the original model, patented in 1927 by John Doe Pura, had three and was called a tricon resophonic guitar. Resonator guitars are loud and bright. They are popular with blues and country guitarists and can be played with a slide or conventionally. Some resonator guitars possess metal bodies, and these are called steel guitars. This can lead to some confusion with a Hawaiian guitar of the same name. They are two distinct instruments. The Hawaiian steel guitar takes its name from the steel bar used to create the glissandi, and the resonator steel guitar refers to the material used for the construction of the body. Bass guitars. The bass guitar has a long neck, scale length, and thick strings. The open strings of the bass guitar corresponds to the 4 lowest strings of the guitar and are pitched an octave lower. The standard bass has 4 strings, though 5 and 6 string basses are available, which extends the range of the instrument. Because the bass guitar is the bass instrument of the guitar family and the double bass is the bass instrument of the orchestral string family, their similar roles have drawn bass players to both instruments. Double neck guitars. The double neck guitar is designed so that 2 guitar necks can share one body. This design allows the guitarist to switch between either neck with ease. The double neck guitar will normally have a standard 6-string neck and a 12-string neck. Other combinations, such as a 6-string neck and a fretless neck, are available. The double neck guitar may be used in live situations when a guitarist needs a 12-string guitar for the rhythm part and a 6-string guitar for the solo break. Guitar. Anatomy of a guitar. This chapter presents an overview of the different parts most commonly found on the 3 main types of guitar. Overview of components. 1 head, 2 nut, 3 tuning pegs, 4 frets, 5 truss rod, 6 inlays, 7 neck, 8 neck joint/heel, 9 body, 10 pickups, 11 pots, 12 bridge, 13 pick guard, 14 back, 15 soundboard, 16 sides, 17 sound hole, 18 strings, 19 saddle, 20 fretboard. On acoustics and electrics. Body. The body of a guitar consists of a treble or upper bout, the half of the guitar closest to the neck, the bass or lower bout, the wider half of the guitar, and the waist bout, the narrow section between the treble and bass bouts. The body is one of the most important factors in shaping the overall tone of a guitar. It provides the resonance that shapes the tonal qualities. It determines the volume of acoustic guitars and affects the sustain of electric guitars. Resonance is affected by the types of wood used, whether the body is made from layered woods, ply, or single pieces, whether the body is hollow or solid, the shape and size of the body. The woods listed below are used in the construction of both acoustic and electric guitars. Tone wood. Agathis, also known as commercial-grade mahogany or poor man's mahogany, is a tropical pine commonly found throughout Southeast Asia. It is a plantation wood used mainly for building cabinets. Agathis is cheap and usually used in the construction of budget guitars. Its tone is similar to mahogany but more bland sounding with a less complex response. Alder is a lightweight wood that provides a clean, balanced tonal response and good resonance. Its soft and tight porous structure is similar to basswood but with a bolder hard grain pattern that adds to the stiffness, making it more robust. Alder has a medium light tan color and provides a balanced tone across the frequency range with a slight upper mid-range producing a clean sound. Its resonance provides a good dynamic range. Ash has an open grain pattern which requires a lot of lacquer to seal, and this can have a marked effect on the length of the sustain. Ash is typically used in mid-range priced guitars. Ash offers two varieties for guitar construction and they differ in tone. 1. Northern hard ash, also known as baseball bat ash, is hard, heavy and dense. This gives it a bright tone and long sustain. 2. Swamp ash, also known as southern soft ash, comes from swamps in the southern USA. Swamp ash grows underwater, which makes the wood lightweight and porous. Many Fender guitars from the 1950s were built with swamp ash. It has hard grain lines between its softer layers and a creamy light tan color with bold darker grain patterns. Its tonal qualities are a balance between brightness, warmth and dynamic range with clear bell-like highs, slightly scooped mids and strong lows. Swamp ash has good resonance across the whole frequency spectrum and therefore can sound quite complex. Basswood is a lightweight, lighter than alder, close-grained wood with a consistent and tight grain pattern. It's very soft with light colors that range from almost white to medium tan. It requires a hard finish, such as polyester, for protection and good engineering to allow the screws and screw holes to hold the parts. The installation of a tremolo system on such a softwood also means the body needs to be thicker to prevent cracking. Tonally, basswood has a warm soft tone which attenuates both the high and extreme low frequencies. It also creates a pronounced mid-range fundamental frequency response and a reduced smoother high-end response. The tonal response compared with other softwoods such as ash and alder is less complex with a narrower dynamic range. Basswood doesn't excel in clean sounds, though when coupled with distortion and overdriven amplifier produces a metal lead sound much favored by some rock guitarists. It is used in the construction of budget guitars and expensive guitars. Cedar became popular in the mid-20th century after master luthier José Ramírez III of Madrid pioneered the use of red cedar as a substitute for the increasingly scarce European spruce. It is now considered one of the world's premier tone woods. Mahogany is a highly dense, heavy wood with a fine, open grain and large pores. The color is reddish-brown. Tonally, it provides good low frequencies, a compressed mid-range and smooth-sounding highs. Overall, its tone is mellow, soft and warm with a full and thick quality. Its density provides excellent sustain and also makes it less susceptible to dents and scratches. Its density and weight have led some manufacturers to experiment with a thinner body as seen on the Ibanez S series. NATO, also known as Eastern mahogany, is a native wood from the Caribbean and South America. NATO is not a mahogany, though its appearance and tonal similarities to mahogany has led to it being used on guitars as a mahogany substitute. It is also a commercial-grade wood used in cabinet building. It has a bright tone with pronounced mid-range but lacks in sensitivity and punch compared with mahogany. NATO is used by the manufacturer B. C. Rich for their assassin range. North American spruce. Maple is used for the backs and sides of more expensive acoustics like the J200 series by Gibson. Though not generally used as a table for flat-topped instruments, it is the wood of choice for arch-top guitars, mandolins, and the violin family of instruments. It's usually white in color with tight pores and thin grain lines. There are two main types of American maple. 1. Eastern hard maple, also known as hard rock maple or sugar maple and usually associated with maple syrup, is an excellent tone wood. As named, it is very hard and dense with a medium weight, which makes it difficult to work, and therefore it is usually reserved for necks. When used for the body, it provides a bright sound with very strong highs and upper mid-range but quieter bass frequencies. Overall, hard maple has a very long sustain. Eastern hard maple can exhibit a figure, grain pattern, called a bird's eye, whose aesthetic appeal has led to it being used for guitar tops and backs, usually book-matched. 2. Western soft maple, also known as big leaf maple, is much lighter in weight than hard maple. It has a bright tone with good bite and attack, though not as brittle as hard maple. Its tonal qualities produce singing highs with a tight low end. This kind of maple is often seen with a figure called flame or curl, and less commonly a figure called quilt. Rosewood is used for the backs and sides of acoustics and also for fingerboards. It possesses an extremely high density, which makes for an acoustically reflective tone wood. Its color is dark brown with reddish, purple or orange streaks running through it. There are many varieties of rosewood that are suitable for guitar construction. Poplar is the wood used by manufacturers of budget guitars, most notably Danelectro, who use masonite, top and back, glued to a poplar frame, sides. It's a closed-grain wood with a grayish-green color and similar to alder in weight and tone. Due to the resurgence of interest in budget guitars from the 1950s onwards, some modern reissues that use poplar are relatively expensive. European spruce is a premium tone wood used in the design of many stringed instruments, including the violin, viola and lute. Increasing scarcity has resulted in the use of substitutes such as the North American species of spruce and red cedar. Walnut is a medium hardwood with a strong grain pattern. Its body has a constant density. Walnut is harder, heavier and more dense than mahogany and therefore closer to maple. Tonally, it is warmer than maple with a solid low end. The mid-range is relatively complex and the high end is smooth and bright. Due to its density, it provides good sustain. Body top. Some electric guitars have an extra top added to the body to blend the tonal qualities of different types of wood together. Maple with figuring is a popular top and produces a pronounced look and tone, adds brightness. Body tops are not used on acoustics since the layering of two pieces of wood for the table would inhibit the resonance and dull the tone. Bridge. Bridge. The bridge is found on the lower bout of the body and forms one end of the vibrating length of the strings, the other end being the nut, which is located at the end of the fretboard. On most electric guitars, the height of the bridge is adjustable by screws, allowing the guitar's action distance that the strings sit above the frets to be raised or lowered. On most electrics, the horizontal position of the bridge saddles is also screw adjustable, allowing the guitar's intonation to be set by the user. These adjustments are discussed further in the Adjusting the Guitar section. Depending on the guitar, the strings may terminate at the bridge or just pass over it. The bridge of an acoustic consists of two parts: a saddle and the tie block. Saddles are either a piece of plastic or polished bone. Acoustic guitar saddles are made with a smooth top edge, no notches, and the base of the saddle is seated in a groove cut into the tie block. The wood tie block of a classical guitar is glued to the lower bout and acts as a string terminator. A classical guitar string is pushed through the hole in the tie block and the string is then brought back under itself 3 or 4 times and pulled tight to form a knot. Once the saddle is seated in the groove of the tie block, the tension of the strings clamp it. Steel string acoustics also have a saddle and tie block, though due to the strings having terminating end balls there is no need to knot. The ball end of the string is thrust into a vertical hole in the tie block and secured with a pin. The position and height of the saddle and tie block on acoustics are set by the manufacturer, and usually do not require user adjustment. Adjustments to the height of the acoustic saddle are possible by shaving, lowering the saddle, though this job is best left to a luthier since if too much is taken off, a new saddle will be required unless one resorts to the temporizing measure of shims. The design of bridges varies between manufacturers and the above generic descriptions may not apply to some guitars. Fretboard and frets. The fretboard is a piece of wood that is glued to the front of the neck. These are commonly made of rosewood, though other hardwoods such as ebony may also be used. Embedded in the fretboard are a number of metal frets, fret wire, usually numbering 21 to 24. Strings are pressed down behind a fret which changes the length that is left free to vibrate, thereby producing a different note. A simple demonstration is to be found on the 12th fret. On all guitars, this is the fret that divides the string exactly in half and produces a note an octave higher than the open note. Any open string that maintains its original tension and is half produces its octave. This applies to all stringed instruments including the piano and violin. There are a variety of fret designs. Jumbo frets are higher and wider than normal frets and require less fretboard contact to sound a clear note. Medium frets are closer to the board and must be firmly in contact with the fretboard to sound a clear note. Some guitarists prefer jumbo frets due to the ease with which you can bend strings and the faster play offered by less fretboard contact. As with many design elements of the guitar, this is a subjective area that is more personal preference rather than advantage. Good technique is not dependent on fret size. The first fret is the one nearest the nut. Some manufacturers place a 0 fret immediately after the nut and the strings sit on the 0 fret. This brings the sound of the open strings nearer to the quality of a fretted note. A fretboard may have decorative inlays at the 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th and 12th frets which serve as markers for the positions of the guitar. Fretboard inlays can be highly decorative or simple shapes, and on expensive guitars may be made from exotic material like mother of pearl or abalone. Headstock. The headstock lies at the end of the guitar's neck. The purpose of the headstock is to support the tuners, which terminates the strings of the instrument. The tuners are attached to tuning pegs, and this allows the guitarist to lower or raise the pitch of the string. A secondary purpose of the headstock is identification, and many guitar manufacturers choose to use a distinctive headstock shape, often in combination with the name of the model and a trademark logo. On some guitars, the model name and trademark logo may be created using inlaid materials, though decals are also commonly used. Neck. The neck can be a single piece of wood or several pieces glued together and cut to shape. The fretboard is a separate piece of wood that is attached to the neck. Necks can be glued to the body, set neck, or bolted on. Set necks are usually found on acoustic guitars and many other instruments including the violin, lute and cello. The bolt-on neck is a design feature more commonly associated with electric guitars. Most necks are wood, though alternative materials such as carbon fiber composites have been used. Nuts. All strings pass through a nut at the headstock end of the fretboard. Its function is to maintain correct string spacing and alignment so that the strings feed into their respective tuning pegs. On acoustic guitars, the nut and saddle are usually made of the same material. Electric guitars commonly use plastic or synthetic nuts, though sometimes metal is used, as tremolo bars can cause tuning problems. Guitars equipped with them usually have some manner of locking nut, where the strings are clamped down. Tip. Some guitarists lubricate the nut grooves so that the strings move more smoothly. You can do this at home with a soft graphite pencil. There's no need for excessive marking with a pencil, just a few swipes through the groove should deposit enough graphite. Pick guard. Tuning pegs. Guitars. In common with all wood instruments, are prone to dents, scratches and wear. A pick guard, also known as a scratch plate, protects the body of the guitar at the point of most contact. Some electric guitars have raised pick guards so your pick is directed out and away from the pots and strings. Pick guards sometimes need replacing due to wear or damage. In the case of an expensive or rare guitar, which may have a tortoise-shell pick guard, the guitar will have to be sent to an experienced luthier. Sound hole. Sound holes are found on all acoustics. Their purpose is to allow the air pressure to stay equalized so that the soundboard can vibrate. Archtop guitars have F-shaped sound holes, a design feature they share with a violin, viola, cello and double bass. Round sound holes usually have a decorated edge based on a geometrical design known as a rosette. On modern guitars these decorations are machine-made, though some luthiers of expensive guitars still use the traditional method of laying by hand small pieces of exotic material like mother of pearl. Truss rod. Steel-strung guitars, whether acoustic or electric, have a metal truss rod that runs the length of the neck under the fretboard. Strengthening the neck with a truss rod counteracts the tension exerted by the strings and allows the curvature of the neck to be adjusted. Classical guitars do not require a truss rod due to the lower tension of nylon strings. Some less expensive steel string acoustics do not have a truss rod. Adjusting the truss rod can have a marked impact on the tuning and playability of a guitar. Truss rod adjustments should be performed with great care, as it is possible to damage the neck or the truss rod. Over-tightening is especially to be avoided because if the truss rod snaps or its threads strip, a very involved repair job will be necessitated.
Different types of guitars. TA music salesman will let you try as many guitars as you like but may not be too happy about the little scratch your coat button left. Your choice of guitar will usually be based on the type of music you wish to play and the aesthetic appeal of the color and design. Acoustic guitars. Di Giorgio Amazonia classical guitar. Different types of guitars. TA Music Salesman will let you try as many guitars as you like, but may not be too happy about the little scratch your code button left. Your choice of guitar will usually be based on the type of music you wish to play and the aesthetic appeal of the color and design. Acoustic guitars. Di Giorgio Amazonia classical guitar. There are two types of acoustic guitar, namely the steel string acoustic guitar and the classical guitar. Steel string acoustic guitars produce a metallic sound that is a distinctive component of a wide range of popular genres. Steel string acoustic guitars are sometimes referred to as flat tops. The word top refers to the face or front of the guitar, which is also called the table. Classical guitars have a wider neck than steel string guitars and are strung with nylon strings. They are primarily associated with the playing of a solo classical guitar repertoire. Classical guitars are sometimes referred to as Spanish guitars in recognition of their country of origin. The acoustic guitar lends itself to a variety of tasks and roles. Its portability and ease of use make it the ideal songwriter's tool. Its gentle harp-like arpeggios and rhythmic chordal strumming has always found favor in an ensemble. The acoustic guitar has a personal and intimate quality that is suited to small halls, churches, and private spaces. For larger venues, some form of amplification is required. An acoustic guitar can be amplified by placing a microphone in front of the sound hole or by installing a pickup. There are many entry-level acoustic guitar models that are manufactured to a high standard, and these are entirely suitable as a first guitar for a beginner. Electric guitars. Electric guitars are solid-body guitars that are designed to be plugged into an amplifier. The electric guitar, when amplified, produces a sound that is metallic with a lengthy decay. The shape of an electric guitar is not determined by the need for a deep resonating body, and this has led to the development of contoured and thin-body electric guitars. The two most popular designs are the Fender Stratocaster and the Gibson Les Paul. Electric guitar strings are thinner than acoustic guitar strings and closer to the neck, and therefore less force is needed to press them down. The ease with which you can bend strings. Access to the 12th position. The use of a whammy bar and the manipulation of pots and switches while playing has led to the development of a lead guitar style that is unique to the instrument. Fret tapping is a guitar technique for creating chords and melody lines that are not possible using the standard technique of left-hand fretting and right-hand strumming. The sustain. Sensitive pickups. Low action and thin strings of the electric guitar make it an ideal instrument for fret tapping. Electroacoustic guitars. Electroacoustic guitars are commonly referred to as semi-acoustic guitars. Electroacoustic guitars have pickups that are specifically designed to reproduce the subtle nuances of the acoustic guitar timbre. Electroacoustic pickups are designed to sound neutral with little alteration to the acoustic tone. The occasion range of electroacoustic guitars have under the saddle piezo pickups and a synthetic bowl back design. The synthetic bowl back ensures a tough construction that stands up to the rigors of the road while offering less feedback at high volumes. Occasion were the first company to provide onboard equalization, and this is now a standard feature. The Taylor electroacoustic range uses the traditional all-wood construction, and the necks of these guitars have a reputation for superb action and playability. Yamaha, Van, and many other companies manufacture electroacoustic guitars, and the buyer is advised to test as many models and mix this while taking note of the unplugged and amplified sound. 12-string guitars. The 12-string guitar is a simple variation of the normal 6-string design. 12-string guitars have 6 regular strings and a second set of inner strings. Each string of a second set corresponds to the note of its regular string counterpart. The strings form pairs, and therefore you play a 12-string guitar in the same manner as you would a standard 6-string. 12-string guitars produce a brighter and more gently toned than 6-string guitars. They are used by guitarists for chord progressions that require thickening. The 12-string is mainly used as a rhythm instrument due to the extra effort involved in playing lead guitar using paired strings. 12-string guitars have 12 tuning picks and double truss rods and are slightly more expensive than their corresponding 6-string version. Archtop guitars. Vivone Emperor archtop guitar. The archtop is a hollow or semi-hollow steel string acoustic or electric guitar. The carved top, combined with violin style F-holes and internal sound block, creates a timbre that is acoustic and mellow. These two factors have made archtops a firm favorite with jazz guitarists. Acoustic and electric archtops are identical in design, with the only difference being the addition of electromagnetic pickups and pots. Archtops can either be full body or thin line. The full body archtop retains good volume and acoustic resonance when played unplugged, though feedback may be an issue when amplified. The thin line body minimizes feedback by sacrificing acoustic volume and resonance. The archtop is one of the most aesthetically pleasing guitar designs, and makers usually adhere to very high standards of construction and playability. These factors ensure its continuing popularity with guitarists. Steel guitars. The steel guitar is unusual in that it is played horizontally across the player's lap. The steel guitar originates from Hawaii, where local musicians, newly introduced to the European guitar, developed this style of playing involving alternative tunings and the use of a slide. The Hawaiian guitarists found that by laying the guitar flat across the lap, they could better control the slide. In response to this new playing style, some Hawaiian steel guitars were constructed with a small rectangular body which made them more suitable for laying across the lap. There are two types of steel guitar played with steel. The solid metal part from which the guitar takes its name, namely the lap steel guitar, and the pedal steel guitar with its extra necks. The pedal steel guitar comes on its own stand with a mechanical approach similar to the harp. Pedals and knee levers are used to alter the pitch of the strings whilst playing, thereby extending the fluency of the glissandi technique. Touch guitars. The first touch guitar invention started in 1959 with the filing of patent number 2. 989. 884 issued in 1961 is the first touch tapping instrument which could be played on two separated necks simultaneously by muting the strings at the distal end of the neck along with numerous other claims. Until 1974 it was known as the dual elector, and with the new patent the electronic mute has been known as the touch guitar. It is held normally over the shoulder and designed with the left hand playing the lower bass neck in a traditional way and the right hand playing over the top of the neck which has a wider string spacing allowing the hand to be used in both vertical and horizontal angles to the strings. It is absolutely off at all times. Until touch or pick. Resonator guitars. Resonator guitars are distinctive from not having a regular sound hole, instead they have a large circular perforated cover plate which conceals the resonator cone. The cone is made from spun aluminum and resembles a loudspeaker. The bridge is connected to either the center or edge of the cone by an aluminum spring called the spider. The vibrations from the spider are projected by the cone through the perforated cover plate. The most common resonator guitars have single cone, although the original model patented in 1927 by John Tupper had 3 and was called the thunders of a guitar. Resonator guitars are loud and bright. They are popular with blues and country guitarists and can be played with a slide or conventionally. Some resonator guitars possess metal bodies and these are called steel guitars. This can lead to some confusion with the Hawaiian guitar of the same name. They are two distinct instruments. The Hawaiian steel guitar takes its name from the steel bar used to create the glissandi, and the resonator steel guitar refers to the material used for the construction of the body. Bass guitars. The bass guitar has a long neck, scale length, and thick strings. The open strings of the bass guitar corresponds to the 4 lowest strings of the guitar and are pitched an octave lower. The standard bass has 4 strings, so 5 and 6 string basses are available, which extends the range of the instrument. Because the bass guitar is a bass instrument of the guitar family, and the double bass is a bass instrument of the orchestral string family. Their similar roles have drawn bass players to both instruments. Double neck guitars. The double neck guitar is designed so that two guitar necks can share one body. This design allows the guitarist to switch between either neck with ease. The double neck guitar will normally have a standard 6-string neck and a 12-string neck. Other combinations, such as a 6-string neck and a fretless neck, are available. The double neck guitar may be used in live situations when a guitarist needs a 12-string guitar for the rhythm part and a 6-string guitar for the solo break. Guitar. Anatomy of a guitar. This chapter presents an overview of the different parts most commonly found on the 3 main types of guitar. Overview of components. 1 head, 2 nut, 3 tuning pegs, 4 frets, 5 truss rod, 6 inlays, 7 neck, 8 neck joint/heel, 9 body, 10 pickups, 11 pots, 12 bridge, 13 pick guard, 14 back, 15 soundboard, 16 sides, 17 sound hole, 18 strings, 19 saddle, 20 fretboard. On acoustics and electrics. Body. The body of a guitar consists of a treble or upper bout, the half of a guitar closest to the neck, the bass or lower bout, the wider half of a guitar, and the waist bout, the narrow section between the treble and bass bouts. The body is one of the most important factors in shaping the overall tone of a guitar. It provides the resonance that shapes the tonal qualities. It determines the volume of acoustic guitars and affects the sustain of electric guitars. Resonance is affected by the types of wood used, whether the body is made from layered woods, flat, or single pieces, whether the body is hollow or solid, the shape and size of the body. The woods listed below are used in the construction of both acoustic and electric guitars. Tone wood. Agathis, also known as commercial grade mahogany or poor man's mahogany, is a tropical pine commonly found throughout Southeast Asia. It is a plantation wood used mainly for building cabinets. Agathis is cheap and usually used in the construction of budget guitars. Its tone is similar to mahogany but more bland sounding with a less complex response. Alder is a light wood that provides a clean balanced tonal response and good resonance. Its soft and tight porous structure is similar to basswood but with a bolder hard grain pattern that adds to the stiffness, making it more robust. Alder has a medium lit tan color and provides a balanced tone across the frequency range with a slight upper mid-range producing a clean sound. Its resonance provides a good dynamic range. Ash has an open grain pattern which requires a lot of electric steel and this can have a marked effect on the length of the sustain. Ash is typically used in mid-range price guitars. Ash offers 2 varieties for guitar construction and they differ in tone. 1. Northern hard ash, also known as baseball bat ash, is hard, heavy and dense. This gives it a bright tone and long sustain. 2. Swamp ash, also known as southern soft ash, comes from swamps in the southern USA. Swamp ash grows underwater which makes the wood lightweight and porous. Many Fender guitars from the 1950s were built with swamp ash. It has hard grain lines between its softer layers and a creamy lit tan color with bold darker grain patterns. Its tonal qualities are a balance between brightness, warmth, and dynamic range with clear bell-like highs. Slightly scooped mids and strong lows. Swamp ash has good resonance across the whole frequency spectrum and therefore can sound quite complex. Basswood is a lightweight, lighter than alder, close grain wood with a consistent and tight grain pattern. It's very soft with light colors that range from almost white to medium tan. It requires a hard finish, such as polyester. For protection and good engineering to allow the screws and screw holes to hold the parts. The installation of a tremolo system on such a soft wood also means the body needs to be thicker to prevent cracking. Tonally, basswood has a warm soft tone which attenuates both the high and extreme low frequencies. It also creates a pronounced mid-range fundamental frequency response and a reduced smoother high-end response. The tonal response compared with other softwoods such as ash and alder is less complex with a narrower dynamic range. Basswood doesn't excel in clean sounds, but when coupled with distortion and overdriven amplifier produces a metal lead sound much favored by some rock guitarists. It is used in the construction of budget guitars and expensive guitars. Cedar became popular in the mid-20th century after Master Ludwig Joseph Ursus pioneered the use of red cedar as a substitute for the increasingly scarce European spruce. It is now considered one of the world's premier tone woods. Mahogany is a highly dense, heavy wood with a fine, open grain and large pores. The color is reddish brown. Tonally, it provides good low frequencies, a compressed mid-range and smooth sounding highs. Overall, its tone is mellow, soft and warm with a full and thick quality. Its density provides excellent sustain and also makes it less susceptible to dents and scratches. Its density and weight have led some manufacturers to experiment with thinner body as seen on the Ibanez S series. NATO, also known as Eastern mahogany, is a native wood from the Caribbean and South America. NATO is not a mahogany, though its appearance and tonal similarities to mahogany has led to it being used on guitars as a mahogany substitute. It is also a commercial grade wood used in cabinet building. It has a broad tone with pronounced mid-range but lacks in sensitivity and punch compared with mahogany. NATO is used by the manufacturer of B.C. Rich for their assassin range. North American spruce. Maple is used for the backs and sides of more expensive acoustics like the J200 series by Gibson. Though not generally used as a table for flat top instruments, it is a wood of choice for arch top guitars, mandolins, and the violin family of instruments. It's usually white in color with headboards and thin grain lines. There are two main types of American maple. One, Eastern hard maple, also known as hard rock maple or sugar maple and usually associated with maple syrup, is an excellent tone wood. As named, it is very hard and dense with a medium weight which makes it difficult to work and therefore it is usually reserved for necks. When used for the body, it provides a bright sound with very strong highs and upper mid-range but quieter bass frequencies. Overall, hard maple has a very long sustain. Eastern hard maple can exhibit a figure, grain pattern, called the bird's eye whose aesthetic appeal has led to it being used for guitar tops and backs usually book matched. 2. Western soft maple, also known as big leaf maple, is much lighter in weight than hard maple. It has a bright tone with good bite and a tack tone not as brittle as hard maple. Its tonal qualities produce singing highs with a tight low end. This kind of maple is often seen with a figure called flame or pearl and less commonly a figure called quill. Rosewood is used for the backs and sides of acoustics and also for fingerboards. It possesses an extremely high density which makes for an acoustically reflective tone wood. Its color is dark brown with reddish, purple or orange streaks running through it. There are many varieties of rosewood that are suitable for guitar construction. Poplar is a wood used by manufacturers of budget guitars, most notably the Electro, who use macedonite, top and back, glued to a poplar frame, sides. It's a closed grain wood with a grayish green color and similar to alder in weight and tone. Due to the resurgence of interest in budget guitars from the 1950s onwards, some modern reissues that use poplar are relatively expensive. European spruce is a premium tone wood used in the design of many stringed instruments including the violin, viola and lute. Increasing scarcity has resulted in the use of substitutes such as the North American species of spruce and red cedar. Walnut is a medium hardwood with a strong grain pattern. Its body has a constant density. Walnut is harder, heavier and more dense than mahogany and therefore closer to maple. Tonally, it is warmer than maple with a solid low end. The mid-range is relatively complex and high and is smooth and bright. Due to its density, it provides good sustain. Body top. Some electric guitars have an extra top added to the body to blend the tonal qualities of different types of wood together. Maple with figuring is a popular top and produces a pronounced look and tone, adds brightness. Body tops are not used on acoustics since the layering of two pieces of wood for the table would inhibit the resonance and dull the tone. Bridge. The bridge is found on the lower bout of the body and forms one end of a varying length of the strings. The other end being a nut, which is located at the end of the fretboard. On most electric guitars, the height of the bridge is adjustable by screws. Allowing the guitar's action, distance that the strings sit above the frets, to be raised or lowered. On most electrics, the horizontal position of the bridge saddles is also screw adjustable, allowing the guitar's intonation to be set by the user. These adjustments are discussed further in the adjusting the guitar section. Depending on the guitar, the strings may terminate at the bridge or just pass over it. The bridge of an acoustic consists of two parts, a saddle and a tie block. Saddles are either a piece of plastic or polished bone. Acoustic guitar saddles are made with a smooth top edge, no notches, and the base of the saddle is seated in a groove cut into the tie block. The wood tie block of a classical guitar is glued to the lower bout and acts as a string terminator. A classical guitar string is pushed through the hole in the tie block and the string is then brought back under itself 3 or 4 times and pulled tight to form a knot. Once the saddle is seated in the groove of the tie block, the tension of the strings climb it. Steel string acoustics also have a saddle and tie block, though due to the strings having terminating end balls there is no need to knot. The ball end of the string is thrust into a vertical hole in the tie block and secured with a pin. The position and height of the saddle and tie block on acoustics are set by the manufacturer, and usually do not require user adjustment. Adjustments to the height of the acoustic saddle are possible by shaving, lowering the saddle, though this job is best left to a luthier since if too much is taken off. A new saddle will require less one resorts to the temporizing measure of shims. The design of bridges varies between manufacturers and the above generic descriptions may not apply to some guitars. Fretboard and frets. The fretboard is a piece of wood that is glued to the front of the neck. These are commonly made of rosewood, though other hardwoods such as ebony may also be used. Embedded in the fretboard are a number of metal frets, fret wire, usually numbering 21 to 24. Strings are pressed down behind the fret which changes the length that is left free to vibrate, thereby producing a different note. A simple demonstration is to be found on the 12th fret. On all guitars this is a fret that divides the string exactly in half and produces a note an octave higher than the open note. Any open string that maintains its original tension and is half produces its octave. This applies to all string instruments including the piano and violin. There are a variety of fret designs. Jumbo frets are higher and lighter than normal frets and require less fretboard contact to sound a clear note. Medium frets are closer to the board and must be firmly in contact with the fretboard to sound a clear note. Some guitars prefer jumbo frets due to the ease with which you can bend strings and the faster play offered by less fretboard contact. As with many design elements of the guitar, this is a subjective area and is more personal preference rather than advantage. Good technique is not dependent on fret size. The first fret is the one nearest the nut. Some manufacturers place a zero fret immediately after the nut and the strings sit on the zero fret. This brings the sound of the open strings nearer to the quality of the fretted note. A fretboard may have decorative inlays at the third, fifth, seventh, ninth, and 12th frets which serve as markers for the positions of the guitar. Fretboard inlays can be highly decorative or simple shapes and non-expensive guitars may be made from exotic material like mother of pearl or abalone. Headstock. The headstock lies at the end of the guitar's neck. The purpose of the headstock is to support the tuners, which terminates the strings of the instrument. The tuners are attached to tuning picks and this allows the guitars to lower or raise the pitch of the string. The secondary purpose of the headstock is identification and many guitar manufacturers choose to use a distinctive headstock shape often in combination with the name of the model and a trademark logo. On some guitars the model name and trademark logo may be created using inlaid materials so decals are also commonly used. Neck. The neck can be a single piece of wood or several pieces glued together and cut to shape. The fretboard is a separate piece of wood that is attached to the neck. Necks can be glued to the body, set neck, or bolted on. Set necks are usually found on acoustic guitars and many other instruments including the violin, lute and cello. The bolt on neck is a design feature more commonly associated with electric guitars. Most necks are wood with alternative materials such as carbon fiber composites have been used. Nuts. All strings pass through a nut at the headstock end of the fretboard. Its function is to maintain correct string spacing and alignment so that the strings feed into their respective tuning pegs. On acoustic guitars the nut and saddle are usually made of the same material. Electric guitars commonly use plastic or synthetic nuts, though sometimes metal is used. As tremolo bars can cause tuning problems. Guitars equipped with them usually have some manner of locking nut, where the strings are clamped down. Tip. Some guitars lubricate the nut groove so that the strings move more smoothly. You can do this at home with a soft graphite pencil. There's no need for excessive marking with the pencil, just a few swabs through the groove should deposit enough graphite. Pickguard. Tuning pegs. Guitars, in common with all wood instruments, are prone to dents, scratches and wear. A pickguard, also known as a scratch plate, protects the body of the guitar at the point of most contact. Some electric guitars have raised pickguards so your pick is directed up and away from the pots and strings. Pickguards sometimes need replacing due to wear or damage. In the case of an expensive or rare guitar, which may have a tortoise shell pickguard, the guitar will have to be sent to an experienced luthier. Sound hole. Sound holes are found on all acoustics. Their purpose is to allow the air pressure to stay equalized so that the soundboard can vibrate. Arch top guitars have F-shaped sound holes, a design feature they share with the violin, viola, cello and double bass. Round sound holes usually have a decorated edge based on a geometrical design known as a rosette. On modern guitars these decorations are machine made, though some luthiers of expensive guitars still use the traditional method of laying by hand small pieces of exotic material like mother of pearl. Truss rod. Steel strung guitars, whether acoustic or electric, have a metal truss rod that runs the length of the neck under the fretboard. Strengthening the neck with the truss rod counteracts the tension exerted by the strings and allows the curvature of the neck to be adjusted. Classical guitars do not require a truss rod due to the lower tension of nylon strings. Some less expensive steel string acoustics do not have a truss rod. Adjusting the truss rod can have a marked impact on the tuning and playability of a guitar. Truss rod adjustments should be performed with great care as it is possible to damage the neck or the truss rod. Over-tightening is especially to be avoided because if the truss rod snaps or its thread strip, a very involved repair job will be necessitated. For this reason, the truss rod nut should only be tightened 1/4 turn at a time. It should then be left alone for a day so the neck has time to assume the new shape. If further adjustment is necessary, repeat the process, a 1/4 turn, max. If one is not mechanically inclined, truss rod adjustment should be deferred to someone who is, including perhaps a guitar repair person. Tuning pegs. The strings are tensioned by means of tuning pegs, also known as tuners, tuning machines, or machine heads. A high gear ratio gives smoother, easier tuning but is not essential. The guitar can be tuned successfully even with fairly cheap tuners. Most guitar tuning problems originate in other areas, especially string sticking in the nut slots, and dirty or worn strings. Due to the tension of the strings and the constant turning of the pins, the screws that secure the tuners to the headstock may loosen. It is recommended that you check that they are screwed in tightly to avoid over-tightening, which may cause alignment problems or damage to the screw head or the wood. Electric guitar. Pickup. 3 magnetic pickups on an electric guitar. From left to right, there are a humbucker and 2 single coils. A pickup is a magnet wrapped in a coil of wire. When a spring is plucked, the vibration of the string causes the magnetic flux to vary, inducing a voltage in the coil. Inducing a voltage in the coil. This is then amplified and played through a speaker. Humbucking pickups use 2 coils having opposite polarity, placed in magnetic fields of opposite direction. The result is that the signal from the strings is doubled, while electromagnetic noise from other sources is cancelled. Thus humbucking pickups, or humbuckers, have less hum and other objectionable noise pickup than single coil pickups. However, having 2 coils in series, their inductance is generally higher, which decreases their high frequency response, so they sound less bright than single coils. Humbuckers are also less able to reproduce very high harmonic frequencies of the string because their magnetic field is less localized than the field of a single coil pickup. Active pickups are pickups with a built-in preamplifier. This can reduce noise pickup and reduce signal losses in the guitar cord. Against these advantages must be weighed cost and the fact that a power source must be provided for the preamplifier. The power source can be a 9-volt battery on the guitar, or phantom power piped in via the guitar cord. Passive single coils are the standard pickup for Fender Stratocasters. They have a bright and twangy clean sound but traditionally have a relatively low output voltage. They are susceptible to noise pickup from transformers, including the transformer in your amp, neon signs, and other AC electrical equipment. This may or may not be a critical problem, depending on your physical location, and on whether you use a clean sound or a sound with a lot of amplifier compression/distortion, which will make electromagnetic noise pickup more noticeable and more of a problem. Some single coils, such as the P90, are larger than regular single coils, and thus warmer than a standard single coil. However, they still retain more of a single coil sound and still can pick up background hum. Another single coil design is the lipstick, commonly found on Danelectro guitars, where the entire pickup is placed in a metal enclosure with a small gap left between the 2 metal halves. Lipstick pickups tend to be bright sounding and the metal case results in some reduction of hum. Active single coils can have higher output and enhanced sensitivity. Humbuckers provide a warm and fat sound. They typically have a higher output voltage than single coils, which suits them to overdriving an amplifier so as to create a heavy sound with lots of sustain and distortion. Some humbuckers allow coil tap, using only one of the coils, or parallel connection, which provides a sound similar to a single coil. Pickups of every type are found in all genres of music. Although single coils, with their bright, twangy sound, are often associated with country, and humbuckers producing thick, warm sounds with the rhythm playing in rock. In heavy metal music, humbuckers are the norm because of the necessity of having a low noise pickup when the amplifier gain is so high. Pickup arrangements. There are many different arrangements for pickups. The most basic is a single pickup near the bridge. S+S, the original Telecaster design uses 2 single coils. Telecasters have a percussive twang with lots of treble, even when using thick single coils, as found on the Fender Jazzmaster and Gibson Les Paul P90. The tone is more emphasized on the treble side. S+S+S, 3 single coils are standard on Fender Stratocasters and Stratocaster copies. H+S+S, used on Stratocasters, which are often called Fat Strats to distinguish them from the standard 3 single coil Stratocaster. The pickup at the bridge is replaced by a humbucker, a favorite with guitarists who want the clean tone of single coils and the hum-free fat tone of a humbucker. H+H, the standard configuration for the Gibson Les Paul, also known as the double fat Strat configuration when mounted on a Stratocaster body. H+S+H, found on the Steve Vai signature model by Ibanez and a favorite pickup arrangement for metal guitarists. Stratocasters using this configuration are called Super Strats. H+H+H, the standard pickup arrangement for the Gibson Firebird 7, SG Custom and Les Paul. Pickup selector. Every electric guitar, except those with a single pickup, has a pickup selector. Guitars with 2 pickups have a 3-way switch which allows the guitarist to select either the neck pickup or the bridge pickup. When the switch is in the middle position, both pickups are used. On guitars with 3 pickups there is usually a 5-way switch. The positions are neck pickup, neck middle, middle pickup, middle bridge, bridge pickup, tremolo bar. A tremolo bar alters the pitch of the strings. Pushing down on the bar lowers the pitch of the strings and pulling up raises the pitch. Rapidly pushing and releasing will produce a modulation in pitch called vibrato. Vibrato is often confused with tremolo, a volume modulation effect found on amplifiers. Hence the misnomer tremolo bar. Originally used just for vibrato, the modern improvements in guitar design, amplifiers and effects has allowed guitarists to create a new palette of tremolo bar sound effects like the popular dive bomb. The Fender Stratocaster shown here has multiple pickups, a whammy bar and volume and tone controls. There are 4 kinds of tremolo. Big spy tremolo, fitted at the bottom end of the body and with a limited pitch bend on both up and down. These distinctive looking tremolos are normally found on archtop guitars. Because of its limited range, it holds its tuning and is more stable than other non-locking tremolos that allow wider pitch bends. Vintage synchronized tremolo, sometimes called the Strat type tremolo, can only down bend. This type of tremolo is more stable than the floating bridge tremolo, though still prone to tuning problems. Floating bridge tremolo, this design allows wide bends of a tone or more in either direction, though this greatly affects tuning stability. Poorly designed floating bridges on cheap guitars should be avoided since the flexibility of the design demands the highest quality in construction and components to ensure tuning stability. Floyd Rose locking tremolo, this design locks the strings, therefore ensuring that the original tension of the strings are not affected by the tremolo bar and the strings return to their original tension after use. The locking tremolo makes changing strings and tuning slightly more complicated, though once in tune the locking tremolo maintains tuning stability far better than non-locking designs. You still need to check your tuning every time you play since tuning is affected by other factors, such as moving from a cold room to a hot room. And the locking tremolo does not negate these factors. Pots. Almost all electric guitars have at least 2 pots, potentiometers, to control the volume and tone. The usual tone control circuit uses the inductance of the pickup's coil in conjunction with an additional capacitor to reduce high frequencies when the pot is turned counterclockwise. Near the minimum position, at about 2 or 3 out of 10, there is usually a noticeable mid-range peak or
everyone, I've been
resulting from the
asked, does
capacitor and inductor resonating with each other. This is a distinctive sound not easily achieved with the tone controls of the amplifier alone. A Fender Stratocaster will typically have 1 master volume pot and 2 tone pots for the neck pickup and middle pickup. Electric guitar necks. 3-screw bolt-on neck. This section describes the different methods used for attaching the neck to an electric guitar. Bolt-on neck, the neck is attached to the body with bolts which are held by a mounting plate for increased stability. The mounting plate can make accessing the higher frets difficult, so some manufacturers, notably Ibanez, use a hidden plate. The bolt-on neck is a standard design used by Fender. Set neck, the neck is attached to the body with adhesive. This is the method used on acoustics and rarely is it used for mass-produced electrics. Electric guitars that feature a set neck have to be built to a high standard since once glued on the neck is permanent and cannot be adjusted. Set necks are commonly found on more costly electric guitars.
that I use on my stream. Stroke simply to mean a black outline, as you can see here. I would show you my chat normally, but obviously people aren't talking in chat. I mean, I guess I could just type some stuff here and it appears underneath like so. This is just the other text is just an example given by Streamlabs. So I thought I was using some archaic way of doing this and there must be a better way these days, but people keep asking me, so I assume there isn't an easily accessible guide out there somewhere that explains how to get a stroke on your chat. So you can copy my settings to whatever degree you like, but the thing that's important is in my CSS I have this weird text shadow thing. I got it from a video like 5 years ago. No idea what video it was. I would give credit if I could, but it was just that long ago. As I say, I assumed there was a better way of doing it now, but apparently not. I would argue my chat looks better than like basically anyone's. One of my mods freaking out there. Anyone on Twitch that I've seen. So I'm perfectly willing to give my entire CSS in the description down below, so you can copy it and change it to whatever degree you like, and I hope this
Set necks are commonly found on more costly electric guitars. Gibson and Epiphone use set necks, which is claimed to have these advantages over a bolt-on neck. Warmer tone. More sustain. Better access to higher frets. Through body neck, the neck extends the entire length of the body. The strings. Fretboard. Pickups and bridge are all mounted on the through body neck. The ears or wings, the bouts, are attached or glued to the central stick. The wings may be book matched in order to give a symmetrical appearance. The through body neck is usually found on high-end guitars since the design is not favored by mass production manufacturers. It is more common on basses than guitars. The through body neck allows easier access to the higher frets because there is no heel and is considered by some guitarists to offer greater sustain. Guitar. Buying a guitar. A new guitar can be purchased for a moderate price. Modern manufacturing techniques coupled with mass production keeps costs low while intonation and playability are preserved by precise machining. Most manufacturers offer a full range of guitars from budget to custom shop. Acoustic or electric. The first decision a buyer has to make is which type of guitar to purchase. After deciding this, the buyer should research the models available within their price range. Research avoids impulse buying and allows an informed decision to be made. It is recommended that a first guitar be bought from a guitar shop. Pawnbrokers and charity shops may offer second-hand guitars, but all decisions fall upon the buyer, who may not be experienced in spotting flaws or damage. Guitar shops will offer a range of new guitars from established manufacturers and a selection of second-hand guitars without faults. It is important that the buyer not be swayed from their informed choice on the day of purchase. If you know that you want to play electric guitar in a band and this is the correct type of guitar to purchase. It is not uncommon that when faced with a bewildering range of guitars in a shop, a buyer may choose to purchase a different type of guitar other than their original choice. If at any time a doubt arises whilst purchasing, it is better to walk away and review your aims and buying options. Singer-songwriters favor the steel string acoustic guitar as the standard accompaniment for solo performance. The buyer should be aware that acoustic guitars have no internal pickups for amplification, so a microphone must be placed in front of the sound hole for recording. An electroacoustic guitar is an acoustic guitar with pickups and a 1/4-inch jack output, which allows the electroacoustic guitar to be plugged into an amplifier. Note that thin-line guitars are not true acoustics, and it is a common error that beginners raise the action in the belief that there is something wrong with their thin-line guitar, which despite its obvious acoustic build has buzzing strings and produces a weak volume when played unplugged. Thin-line guitars are electric guitars with a body that imparts an acoustic resonance when amplified. Testing a guitar. Martin D28 acoustic guitar. The height of the strings above the fretboard is called the action. If the action is too low, the strings will buzz, and if the action is too high, more effort is required to push the strings down. Acoustic guitars have their action set by the factory and should not need further adjustment, and therefore acoustics with a high action should be avoided, since this may be a sign of faulty construction or a warped neck. You can test the action by playing bar chords at different positions. If the bar chords are difficult to play, then the action may be set too high. Intonation is a term used to describe accurate tuning over the range of the guitar, which is 3 octaves. A guitar with its intonation set correctly ensures that an open C chord played on the first 3 frets sounds the same as a C bar chord played at the 8th fret. Guitarists use octaves to check intonation by striking an open string, then fretting its 12th fret octave equivalent. The open string and its octave should be in tune together, with neither being sharp or flat in relation to the other. On all electric guitars, the intonation can be adjusted at home by the player using an electronic guitar tuner, but for acoustic guitars any adjustments must be made by a luthier, since the nut and bridge need to be adjusted by filing and shaving. Guitar manufacturers ensure that the intonation is set at the factory, and a further check is normally made by guitar dealers before a guitar is put on display. A second-hand guitar must be tested for intonation problems, as sometimes a warped neck will render accurate intonation impossible, though the guitar may sound in tune in the first position. Intonation depends on the straightness of the neck, whether the nut allows correct spacing and seating of the strings, the height of the bridge, and the scale of the frets. Intonation and tuning are two related but different concepts. Setting the intonation is about preparing the guitar so that it can be accurately tuned across its complete range. The guitar should be played from its first to last fret on all strings to check for fret buzz and wolf notes. Fret buzz may be present when the truss rod is not properly adjusted or the action has been set too low. Worn fretboards or incorrectly shaped fret wire can also cause fret buzz. Wolf notes sound dull and lack sustain, and in some cases they can affect the tuning stability of a guitar. It is common to find a wolf note on the G string in the first position, though they can occur anywhere on the neck where string contact to the fret is impeded or incorrect. The problematic wolf note can be corrected by sending the guitar to a luthier for setting up and adjustment. The luthier will ask you which make of guitar strings you use and will adjust the guitar for that gauge. The guitar must be rest rung every time with that particular string brand and gauge to preserve the setup. Regrooving nuts. Adjusting necks and permanent bridge alterations are best left to a luthier whose traditional skills coupled with modern tools like the oscilloscope and precision calipers ensures a stable match between the strings and the guitar. Look for misaligned screws on electric guitars, as these may be a sign of wear or previous adjustments. On acoustic guitars, glue spots may point to flaws, though in most cases they are just residue that wasn't wiped off the guitar and generally don't affect the tone or playability. Loose switches on electric guitars are common, and if dirt has accumulated, then the familiar crackling of reduced contact will be heard when a pot or switch is moved. Pots, switches and wiring can be replaced, so a good electric guitar with these problems should not be dismissed, though the price should reflect the cost of replacing the damaged parts. Look down the side of the neck to check for a warped neck and to ensure that the guitar strings are all at the same height. The thickness, gauge, of the low E string may not allow it to sit in the nut groove correctly, and it may be slightly higher than the other strings. This may be a sign that you need thinner gauge strings or that the guitar needs to be set up. Run your finger along the neck edges where the fret wire ends. Fret wire is tapped into a fretboard and then cut flush with the neck edge. As you run your finger along, you should not feel any fret wire protruding, and this is an indication that the manufacturer has ensured a degree of quality control. The intonation tuners located on the bridge of most electric guitars should be in a neat staggered row, with the high E string intonation tuner nearest to the neck and the low E string intonation tuner furthest away from the neck. If testing a guitar you notice that the intonation tuners are not in a diagonal line from the high E to low E, then this is a sign that someone has attempted to adjust the bridge and intonation tuners to set the action and has probably rendered the guitar unplayable. This is not a construction fault, and the intonation tuners can be adjusted so that the guitar can be tuned correctly. It is common when you see misaligned intonation tuners that the bridge has also been raised to its highest position. The only time a bridge should be deliberately raised to its highest position is when a guitarist chooses to set up a guitar permanently for use with a slide. Buying a guitar that suits your playing style. Try as many different necks as you can until you find a guitar neck that you feel comfortable with. Gibson favors a flat wide neck and Fender a thinner neck. Some guitarists find that bending strings on a Gibson neck is more stable and precise due to the extra surface, while others prefer the thinner neck of a Fender and the ease with which you can bend strings an octave or more. Try different necks until you find one that responds to your playing style. The guitar should be comfortable to hold. Some guitarists like the heavier weight of Gibsons, while others prefer the thinner and lighter bodies of Stratocasters. More important is the sound characteristics of a guitar. Telecasters are not as comfortable to hold as Stratocasters, but many guitarists are drawn to their distinctive sound. The majority of new guitars have a medium action either set at the factory or adjusted by the dealer. Lead guitarists sometimes prefer a very low action which sacrifices a small amount of tone for speed and ease. Slide guitarists will raise the action up to a height that renders normal fretting very difficult, though this does ensure clarity of tone when using a metal or glass slide with alternative tunings. A medium action is ideal for a beginner as it maintains tuning stability while providing a clear tone. Test as many models and price ranges as you can. You should test guitars in the price range above your budget to familiarize yourself with the differences. Dealers are quite happy to give potential customers a long time to test different guitars without any sales pressure. Note that not all sales assistants are guitarists, since a shop that sells both keyboards and guitars may prefer to hire a pianist to demonstrate their keyboard range. In this situation, the buyer must rely on their own knowledge. Do not be distracted. Testing guitars involves all the mental faculties. It is during these moments that a buyer may make a wrong decision. If at any time during testing you feel as though distractions are affecting your concentration, then walk away and refocus. Where to buy a guitar? Buying a guitar from a friend or relative who plays is an ideal way to avoid some of the common pitfalls of a first purchase. Relatives and friends may also help you search for a good guitar if they do not have one that they want to sell. It is recommended that the final choice should be made by the purchaser, since guidance is never foolproof. A local guitar or music store that has an established reputation. Many guitarists return to the same local shop to buy strings and other extras, though a larger dealer should be sought if the range of guitars offered by your local dealer is too small. Second-hand guitars need to test it thoroughly before purchasing. If the buyer is unsure of what faults to look for, then a new guitar might be the better option. Guitar. Buying an amplifier. Amplifiers come in a wide variety of designs, and your choice of amplifier should be based on the type of music you wish to play. Your local guitar dealer will let you test the different amplifiers they stock, though they may only offer a limited range due to space restrictions. It's always a good idea to visit many dealers, including pro audio outlets, to test amplifiers across the entire price range before committing yourself. This chapter will explain the difference between a tube amplifier and a solid-state amplifier, as well as exploring the variations on these two basic designs. Tube. Solid-state and hybrid amplifiers. Tube. Tube amplifiers produce a warm and fat tone that is popular with guitarists. New models are available from Marshall, Fender and Vox, as well as other manufacturers, which range in quality and price. Vintage tube amplifiers from the 1960s and 1970s are available to buy, though maintaining them can be expensive, especially with regards to the cost of replacement parts. The continuing popularity of vintage amplifiers from earlier decades has resulted in a market for reissues. Mesa Boogie Mark IV Combo Tube Amplifier. There are 3 operating modes for tube technology. Class A, Class B and Class AB. Pure Class A operates by having a full continuous current flowing through the tubes. The tubes are still fully powered even when there is no signal to divert to the speaker. This makes pure Class A tubes expensive to run, similar to a car idling in neutral with the throttle pedal right down. Pure Class A responds very fast to an input signal with a tube saturation, distortion, that many guitarists find appealing. Many pure Class A amplifiers use tubes with a low wattage to offset their inefficient operating mode, thereby increasing the tube's lifespan and reducing running costs. Class A refers to an output design that doesn't use a pure Class A single-ended output stage. Class A uses a pair of tubes or multiples terminating in a push-pull output stage. Class B is rarely used in guitar amplifiers due to crossover distortion issues, so manufacturers instead use a combination of Class A and Class B known as Class AB. Class AB operates by using a pair of tubes, whereas pure Class A produces the entire waveform, positive and negative, with a single-ended output. Class AB produces the entire waveform using two tubes, with one handling the positive voltage and the other the negative voltage. In comparison to pure Class A, which uses a full continuous current to achieve a 360-degree waveform and is always on at full power even when there is no signal present. Class AB uses a smaller amount of constant current to achieve the same always-on state for the two tubes. Class AB is thereby more efficient with regards to power consumption and heat dissipation, and the operating life of the tubes are greatly extended. Tube amplifiers. A tube is based on vacuum technology and requires more energy than a solid-state amplifier with the same wattage. Vacuum tubes are expensive and require replacement every 1 to 4 years depending on use. Amplifiers with tubes are generally heavier than solid-state amplifiers due to the need for an output transformer. Tube amplifiers are usually more expensive than a solid-state amplifier. Tubes require a warm-up period before they reach optimum performance. Tube amps are more fragile and repair-prone than solid-state amps. Solid-state. Roland Jazz Chorus JC120 solid-state amplifier. Solid-state amplifiers use transistors instead of tubes. They are popular with beginners due to their affordability and lower weight. Solid-state amplifiers have a fast attack time and are immediately available for use when switched on. Solid-state circuitry allows more volume to be applied to the output signal before clipping occurs, which makes the amplifiers appealing to amateur and professional jazz or acoustic guitarists who may wish to retain a clean sound at high volumes. A solid-state amplifier matched with good quality speakers can produce a wide frequency response. Some solid-state amplifiers use field effect transistors, FET, on the preamp stage, which at high gain produces a distortion similar to a tube amplifier. Solid-state amplifiers retain a tight low end while producing a full harmonic distortion at high gain, which is desirable for the metal genre. This has resulted in a range of solid-state amplifiers specifically designed for metal guitarists. Solid-state amplifiers tend to be smaller and lighter than their equivalent tube amplifiers, and these design factors allows manufacturers to build amplifiers weighing less than 10 pounds which are capable of 150W clean RMS sound. Root mean square refers to continuous output as opposed to peak measurement, which is the wattage of an amplifier measured in a short burst. Solid-state amplifiers. A solid-state amplifier requires less energy to power than an equivalent tube amplifier. Solid-state circuitry needs minimum maintenance and there are no tubes to replace. Solid-state amplifiers are more robust than tube amplifiers. Solid-state amplifiers are available in an affordable price range. A solid-state amplifier requires no warm-up. Hybrid. All amplifiers have a preamp stage which boosts the signal from the guitar before it is sent to the power amplifier stage. Hybrid amplifiers are designed to utilize both tube and solid-state technology and are available in the following configurations. Tube preamp coupled with a solid-state power amplifier. Solid-state preamp coupled with a tube power amplifier. A tube preamp coupled with a solid-state power amplifier outputs a tube tone with a fast attack. A solid-state preamp coupled with a tube output provides solid-state high gain with the warmth of tubes. Design variations may include digital modeling, integrated tube/solid-state stages, or further additional tube or solid-state stages in the signal path. The Vox Valvetronics signal path starts with solid-state effects and preamp, which sends the signal to a tube/solid-state integrated output stage. The Line 6 Spider Valve signal path starts with digital tone processing followed by a tube preamp, which sends the signal to a tube power amplifier. Features. Standard. Input, accepts a 1/4-inch mono jack cable. Power, off and on. Volume, adjusts the volume. Speaker, built-in or separate cabinet. Additional. Gain, the amount of boost applied at the preamp stage. Overdrive or distortion. Reverb. Tone/equalizer, treble and bass tone knobs. Sometimes 3 or more, mid or low mid and high mid may be added. Or graphic equalizer. Headphone socket, headphones can be used for private practice. Channel selection, switch between clean and high gain/overdrive, often with a foot switch. Extra. Additional inputs, high sensitivity input for use with a low output pickup and low sensitivity input for use with a high output pickup. Modeling, digital emulations of popular amplifiers. Speakers and effects. Onboard effects, built-in proprietary effects such as chorus, delay, echo and compression. Effect loop, external effects can be plugged into the amplifier. Line in, the audio signal bypasses the preamp stage and is sent directly to the power amplifier. Line out, the output from the amplifier can be sent to another power amplifier or mixing desk. Speaker out, standard on a separate amplifier head and when found on a combo amplifier allows a different speaker to be used. Or a second speaker. Adding a second speaker can increase the wattage output and volume. Foot switch plug input, an external foot switch can be plugged into control overdrive. Reverb. Solo boost. Or another feature. Impedance switch, on tube amplifiers only, change the resistance. Measured in ohms. Of the amplifier to match speaker impedance. Standby switch, on tube amplifiers only, the standby switch has exactly the same function as the standby mode of a computer which removes the need to cold boot when taking a short break. Any technology that requires a time period to reach optimum working state benefits from this idea. Components are powered down while remaining in a ready state which saves energy and extends their operating life. Wattage. Amplifiers. The wattage rating is the maximum volume that an amplifier is designed to output. A 10 watt amp is typically the first purchase for a beginner. An amplifier in the 30 to 50 watt range is loud enough for band use and home band rehearsals and is a common first performing amp. If you are intending to buy a 100 watt amplifier you will need to consider using a rehearsal studio for practice, as this will be too loud for a home. The list below outlines possible uses based on the amplifier's wattage rating. The ratings below need to be interpreted differently for some genres of music. A 30W amp that would only suffice for a rehearsal amp in a death metal band might be entirely appropriate as a large venue amp in a jazz quartet, where all the other instruments are acoustic. Solid-state amplifiers. 1030W. Home practice. 3050W. Band practice. Small club. 50-100W. Large venue. Tube amplifiers. 10-20W. Home and band practice. 2030W. Band practice. Small to medium club. 3050W. Small to medium club. 50-100W. Extremely loud in confined spaces or small clubs, though diffuse in large halls. Speakers. The function of a speaker is to convert an electrical signal into sound waves. This is achieved using an electromagnet called the voice coil which is attached to the speaker cone by a spring called the spider. The vibrations from the voice coil are transferred via the spider to the speaker cone. A speaker cabinet will house either a single speaker or multiples. A two-speaker configuration may utilize smaller speakers than a single speaker model e.g. 2x10 instead of 1x12. The main benefit of having multiple speakers is an increase in volume and bass response without sacrificing the higher frequencies. By having more speaker cones the speakers will move more air. For example, 210 speakers have a combined surface area of 157 sq in, while 112 speaker has a surface area of 113 sq in. A 4x10 cab is often used for large combo amplifiers as it provides most of the bass response you would get from a 1x15, but retains the high frequency that the 1x15 cannot produce. Also, it will have increased power handling capability. Or more precisely, they split the amplifier output. Thus, given the same amplification head, a two-speaker configuration will have a louder volume but only half the power to each speaker. A low-power speaker is louder at the same power than a high-power speaker. This is known as speaker efficiency or sensitivity. A 25-watt speaker with a 10-watt amplifier will generally be louder than a 100-watt speaker with the same 10-watt amplifier. A cabinet with multiple speakers allows the use of low-power speakers with a high-power amplifier. To avoid damaging speakers, it is recommended that the speaker wattage should exceed the amplifier wattage. Damaging transient peaks or spikes that are the result of an amplifier outputting more wattage than the stated rating are negated by the higher headroom. It is not unusual to find a 150-watt speaker matched to a 100-watt amplifier or a 75-watt speaker matched to a 50-watt amplifier. Multiple speakers achieve the same effect by sharing the amplifier load between speakers, which allows low wattage speakers to be used with a high wattage amplifier. If you are buying a combo amplifier, the issue does not arise as the manufacturer has ensured that the amplifier and speaker are matched. Impedance. The speaker out socket of an amplifier will have an impedance rating. You should only plug in speakers with the same impedance rating. Some amplifiers are equipped with a switch or dial which allows the impedance to be set at 4 ohm, 8 ohm or 16 ohm. Plugging in a speaker with a too low impedance rating may cause damage to the amplifier. Tube amplifiers are much more sensitive to speaker impedance. Any mismatch between the speaker impedance and the impedance set on the amplifier will cause a strain on the transformer and tubes. Never turn on a tube amplifier with no speakers connected. This might cause severe damage to the output transformer. Always turn off your tube amplifier before disconnecting the speaker. Some amplifiers have shorting jacks. E.g. high watts. These may allow you to change speakers on the fly. But always at the amplifier side of the cable. Never at the speaker side. Types of unit. Marshall amplifier without the speaker cabinet plugged in. Commonly referred to as the head. Micro/headphone amplifiers. Micro amplifiers are small portable amplifiers that generally do not exceed 10 watts. These low wattage solid-state amplifiers do not utilize FET circuitry, so they tend to distort very quickly. The Danelectro Honeytone and Vox Amplug respectively illustrates the differences between a micro amplifier and a headphone amplifier. The Danelectro Honeytone has a speaker and pots and resembles a miniature amplifier. The Matchbox-shaped Vox Amplug is a headphone amplifier with rotary dials instead of pots and offers 4 model emulations including the Vox AC30. Busking amplifiers. These small portable battery-powered amplifiers are designed for outdoor use where no mains power is available. The battery will normally provide up to 6 to 10 hours use on one charge, though buying a spare battery or ensuring that the amplifier can also be used with AC power will offset this limitation. Examples include the Pignos Hog 30, which has an 8-speaker and a rating of 30 watts, and the Voxta 5, which has a 6.5-speaker and a rating of 5 watts. Practice amplifiers. Practice amplifiers are designed to be used at home and are not suitable for concerts or band rehearsals. The Voxta 5 and Epiphone Valve Jr. are small practice amplifiers designed for home use and are easily transported and stored. Small venue/recording amplifiers. Combo amplifiers are suitable for small venues. The standard combo consists of a 50-watt amplifier combined with one 1-2 speaker with both components enclosed in a single cabinet. Some manufacturers combine a 30 or 40-watt amplifier with 2 or 4 speakers. A tube or solid-state amplifier with a minimum of 30 watts and good tone would be acceptable for professional use. Combo amplifiers are favored by many guitarists because of their compact form and matched amplifier and speakers. The Vox AC30 and Fender Twin are examples of combo amplifiers. These combo amps are also used in the recording studio, as they are easier to transport and one does not need high volume in a recording setting. As well, a very loud stack may need too high a volume to get a guitarist's preferred tone, to the point that there may be sound leakage into other booths or microphones. A smaller combo can reach desired overdrive levels at lower volumes. Large venue amplifiers. Amplifiers that range from 50 to 100 watts are suitable for a large venue. A half stack consists of a separate amplifier head connected